Now, from the heat of Kenya to, well, rather taller climbs, I think.
Ever so slightly.
Ever so slightly. Ben Fogle and James Cracknell, they like a challenge. So, not content with rowing across the Atlantic, they're at it again.
Yes.
But listen to this.
You may remember, back in June, they were on the programme asking for a third member to come and join their trek to the South Pole.
And after some very intensive training, they found the chosen one. And the chosen one is Ed Coates. And he joins us along with James and Ben. Welcome back to the programme.
Thank you.
I'm glad you found your man.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we're going to have to ask first, how did you know, James? Were you watching, or are you a doctor?
Yeah, well, I still am a doctor. I was in surgical.
Give it all up for this.
I have in fact, but no, I was in surgical theatres at the time, and a pal of mine who's also a surgeon was at home. He'd just become a dad, and he was watching your programme, and he texted me and gave me the nod. And actually told me the guys were going to the North Pole, which was slightly alarming. But I had a good look on the website, which they linked obviously to the programme, and after that I thought I've got to apply for this.
There were quite strict criteria, and I can't remember what they were.
Well, I mean, given that we only had a short amount of time, because we're off in about 9 weeks for this trip, so we needed someone who was very fit, someone who could take some time off for all the training, and indeed take enough time to go out to the South Pole for up to 2 months.
Of course, we left a very short time between asking for someone to join us and the forms have to be in, so people had to really decide if they wanted to do it and then make some decisions whether they could be away for a couple of months straight away.
How many people applied?
That cut it down. I'm not sure actually how many through the website, but there are about sort of 700 or 800 forms that the organisers and the people we're using to were prepared to take 2 months off work. Yeah, within a week had decided that they could take off 2 months plus train for the last 4 months that we've been doing.
And what I love is that lots of people that didn't trust the postal system were so worried about their form getting in time that they travelled across the country, and we actually found out that Ed was one of those people that drove. He actually drove to where the application form had to be posted to, which I think for James and I showed dedication.
Absolutely.
That's one of the things you really need. We've got a clip, haven't we?
Yeah, how you got through all those applications.
10th of July, and effectively this is D-Day, Decision Day. We got through the whole 36-hour process at Friday Island, and we whittled those 40 applicants down to 4 people. We brought them here today, and we're basically putting them through their paces. So they're doing everything from teamwork exercises, they're cold tests, they're doing fitness tests, you name it. And above all, it's just a chance for James and I to get to sit with them and just to understand them a little bit more, because it's quite a big deal, really, choosing the person that's going to join your team and go to the South Pole, one of the most dangerous places on Earth.
So that was you there, being tested. What sort of questions were you being asked?
It was a raft of questions, sort of personality. I was a psychologist there, I think, was talking to me and asking me various things about how I felt I could fit in with these 2 characters, and what I was prepared to do and what I wasn't prepared to do on this trip. You know.
What are you? Now, this is interesting.
Well, after the Atlantic, I suppose there's a lot's known about these 2 guys. They've got a great relationship together, so they wanted to check that I'd fit in. I think a lot of that, from my medical skills point of view, they didn't ask me specifically about that, but I guess they're wondering. I think bottoms were the problem in the Atlantic. I suppose it will be different issues when we go down to the South Pole. Blisters, fingers. I don't.
Yes. They're not going to ask, would you mind stripping off?
Naked.
Well, this is definitely not a sort of naked expedition, I think. They'd always be pleased to say.
We have to go through some of the other tests you went through, because that looks like, ask me some questions, I'll be fine. But there you are doing a little bit of running. That is you on the treadmill, isn't it?
Yeah, yes.
And you also were put in a climate chamber at -20.
It was really. I didn't have a lot of clothes on. I had a running vest, a singlet, and a pair of shorts. Actually, the girls did a lot better than the boys, I think, on that test. So it was pretty hard.
Because by this stage that you're looking at now, we had whittled it down to 4, 2 men and 2 women that we took along for a day of testing, and they did did everything from VO2 max tests, which is what's going on there, which tests for lung capacity, and we also did cold endurance.
When does the race actually start?
The actual race itself starts on New Year's Eve.
And is there a starting line?
So what happens, we go to Antarctica, and then we have a sort of 12-day trek towards the start line, of which there's a cut-off time you have to be there. So if people haven't done the training, they probably won't be able to make it to the start line. The race itself starts on New Year's Eve and then takes...
How many people are taking part?
At the moment, it's sort of 10 teams of 3 people.
And have you sussed them out? the
No,
other
some are
teams?
training in Norway, some are in South Africa, there's a few in England, and so we haven't really, we picked up majority of our kit last weekend, but not all the teams are there, obviously, somewhere for a long way away. But selecting teams are very crucial. It's as much physical as psychology, because to fit in with two people who've worked together before is very tricky. And
I mean, I understand.
yeah, why do you want to go with these two idiots? That's what you're thinking,
Because
isn't
they're
it?
just like that. Why? Why do you want to do it?
Why do I want to go? I mean, for me, it's a lifetime opportunity, and I've never. I mean, I think probably like most members of the public have read about Antarctica. It's a place of mystery and intrigue, somewhere which you can't actually get to very easily. And so to have this opportunity put in front of me was really a no-brainer.
It's a big brainer for me, actually.
No, he's an amazing asset, you know, not in terms of what he brings to the team. Perhaps you have some medical skills, which is good for everyone, but also in terms of... You know,
Just because if either of you gives birth, he'll be able to help you along the way.
Yeah, that's very true. You never know.
I think it's very good of your hospital as well to say, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was very lucky. My bosses at work, obviously, I went to them and said, you know, I've seen this and I've entered it, and I might need to take some time out if I do get selected, and they were very supportive. So it's not a great career progression, but I'll do something quite exciting.
It'll make you a
anytime.
stronger man.
What
And
do
are you worried about anything?
Yeah, these two.
I was going to say, what do you? Is there anything you're particularly worried about, Ben?
I mean, well, it's easily the biggest challenge I've ever done. You know, obviously rowing across
Bigger
the
than the
Atlantic.
Atlantic, really?
Yeah, I think so. Well, it's a much more dangerous environment. You can't. James and I were really ill prepared when we went off on the Atlantic. Anyone that followed the whole process will know, and we've tried to completely change that this time. We've put a lot of effort in. We've got a team of experts who are helping us. And the reason is because if we went to the South Pole with the same sort of training and preparation that we went to the Atlantic, genuinely I don't know that we'd actually be coming back, and that's not something that we even want to consider. So we're putting in a lot of effort there, and the things that really scare me are crevasses. You know, that we're going to be crossing large crevasse fields. We've been on special crevasse training courses out in the Austrian mountains. We're off next week to do a training.
What do you do when you fall down a crevasse then?
Well, it's a very hard thing to get one of your team members out or to get yourself out. But we've done the training and we know we know the science.
And then you have to. First, you make sure you're all safe on the top, and then you gradually sort of set up a rope pulley system to pull them out.
You've both lost weight, actually, since I saw you back in June.
Which is not a good thing.
Well,
We're supposed to be losing weight
bulking it up.
Yeah, well, they say that you lose on average about a third of your body weight over the course of the trip down there.
And it's the training that's meant that you've lost the weight.
Well, we've been doing a lot of training over the last.
It's training, and then we're also rushing around to organise everything as well. So you're probably not. Otherwise, if one of the full-time athlete, you'd train and then rest and recover, whereas now we're training and then we've got to go and make sure we've got
Are you
the
taking
right
cameras
stuff.
with you?
Yes.
Because I want to see all this.
See our pain.
Are you taking some form of communication? Where you
Well, the
talk
interesting
to
is
us,
because
or-
it's a race, and the organisers are very keen to stress that you don't know where you are in the race. So we have phones that can't go out of Antarctica, although I think they do set up media communication, so we can talk, but you then would be under strict embargo not to say you're 5 miles behind the lead line, because if people push too hard in this environment, you make a mistake, then it's really going to come back and...
The very, very best of
you.
luck. Just one
you very
tip
much.
for you.
Yeah.
Don't get involved in any sort of competitive quiz things with Cracknell. Okay? Because he's merciless.
His pedigrees.
He's tough.
I'm not merciless, Sean culled me.
Well, she only told you, she told me, because you were so nasty to everybody else on the lotto quiz.
We were on the lotto quiz. I had to eliminate someone. James was in my line of vision.
I think it was
and
tactical
so I eliminated
elimination, that's
James.
what I thought.
And went to, I'm so sorry. And he's never
Listen,
forgiven me.
there's a tactical elimination, you're in big trouble. All
I'll
right,
tell you
guys.
what, he bears grudges.
All right, see you later. Thank you very much. Let's get the non-Antarctic weather from Lou.